Hey there guys, welcome to another long overdue video. Things have been full on here with the project at the moment, including an article on Warhammer and a featuring gaming bible all in the space of a month. Me and Dan have been hard at work finishing certain areas of the build and making sure that everything has a nice base coat of gold so we can start painting on top of it. It's been about 3 years since I finally completed my first Emperor of Mankind diorama. When I finished that build, I didn't expect to find myself building yet another version of the Golden Throne, but I guess we have Neil Roberts to thank for that one. My first diorama is much smaller than my current build, but will always hold a special place in my memory. I feel like it really captured the grimdark aspect of the 41st millennium, and served as a homage to John Blanche's artwork that captivated me and brought me into the hobby. Here's what they look like next to each other. As you can see, we've got our work cut out for us with this second build. One of the most noticeable additions to the project since our last video is the presence of some large machinery that hangs above the Golden Throne. I'm not going to lie and pretend I know what this does, but it does look pretty cool, right? I can't remember exactly what set these Mechanicum looking pieces came from, but they ended up being the perfect size and shape for what I had in mind. From here I followed my whole modus operandi and absolutely winged it. Worked intuitively. In all honesty, this is my favourite style of creating, as it enables me to work more fluidly but still have a loose plan that I work towards. Once I blasted it together with some super glue and added some gribblies, it was time for it to be undercoated and affixed to the project, leaving it looking something like this. Another area that's seen some improvement over the past few weeks is the top of the pyramid. Dan has been painstakingly adding lengths of plasticard to help add more detail to the upper level. We want to give the impression that this is one giant piece of machinery and not a piece of card with little bits stuck on. Down on ground level, I've been busy putting some GW pipes together. Since the Golden Throne is such an ancient device, I want to give the impression that it needs all this machinery to help it keep running smoothly. Once completed, these were also undercoated in gauntlet gold, along with another selection of details that will help make the ground level look more interesting. Would you guys like to know a fun job? Well, that's removing all the mould lines and sanding down the bases of some lampposts. 10 out of 10 solid fun. Please apply within. Alright, so it's all starting to come together. After all that, we return to cabling, a job that just won't seem to go away. That being said, we are making some great progress with it. The combination of copper and green stuff cables really makes for some nice variation. Although this job's taking a considerable amount of time, we're definitely getting to where we need to be. I promise I will never roll another green stuff cable for as long as I live after this project. I also made some more decorative pieces. I'd done this using some ornate buttons that I picked up from Hobbycraft and a bunch of aquillas that were sent over to me by the Unrelenting Brush. These are going to look great dotted around the diorama. And now, time for a sacrifice. Not that kind. I've had a couple of these Imperial shrines kicking around the studio, but feel like the eagle-shaped walls would look great on the build. After the careful eviction of some spiders, I set about breaking these pieces up and sanding down the edges. Once completed and attached to the build, they look like this. After giving a bit of time for the glue to dry, I went back over them with a base coat of gold. I'll be honest and say that these two additions were done on a bit of a whim, but I'm really happy with how they ended up turning out. I also felt that now was the perfect time for me to include these amazing casts sent over to me by Luke Mockridge. I feel like the only worthy position for these sculpts were flanking either side of the Golden Throne. Some of you might have noticed that the cabling on the left hand side of the build is much neater than the right hand side. I'm not going to lie and say I'm not a little bit annoyed that I developed a neater style for this part of the project, but, you know, it happens. At the end of the day, I'll just have to go back over the right hand side a little bit and make sure it's tidy. Okay, time for the stairs. The less that's said about these, the better. I feel like it's taken so long to get these to look the right way. Dan's help has been absolutely invaluable on these, and I'm happy that they finally look the way they should. I didn't actually record any footage of the process of these being built, as it was all a little bit of a blur. I can happily show you the end product though. Finally, we've managed to undercoat most of the build to really give that sense of cohesion. We're not entirely finished with this portion of the build in terms of construction, but we're definitely a step closer to painting. So, that about wraps it up for this update, but we still have a long way to go yet, as this is an ongoing project. We haven't even started on the painting yet, let alone the palace walls. Stay tuned for those. As always, thank you very much for watching, and consider subscribing if you're enjoying the project. I post regular updates on my Instagram and TikTok, so check out the links below. I've also started live streaming parts of the project from time to time, so if you're potentially interested in that, keep an eye out. Thank you also to my magnificent Patreon supporters who are helping to bring this project into fruition. I'll catch you in the next one.